I was going to say, can we please welcome Kit Connor to the stage?
Thanks so much for joining us. This is your first ever IRL podcast.
This is my first ever. I've done a few over Zoom, and it's always a little bit strange because you sort of having a very intimate conversation with someone that you've never actually seen in person. So this is nice.
Is it nice? Do you think they look like nice people?
I'm looking at all of the faces and I'm thinking, yeah, lots of nice people here. Lots of nice people.
It's very, very difficult to talk about the success of Heartstopper. It must be really tricky for you. To what degree were you prepared for what's happened?
I think I wasn't even remotely prepared, to be honest, because it always felt very personal to all of us. Like it always felt a sort of quite small, quite sort of low scale show, and it didn't really feel like anyone was going to watch it, to be honest. I think Joe said, Joe Locke, obviously, that when the first sort of review came out, obviously it was a really, really lovely review. It was a 5-star review. We were all just over the moon, but we had kind of forgotten that people were actually going to watch it and review it. So, I mean, we're lucky that it was a good one and not a bad one, because that would have been quite bad. It's been pretty amazing, to be honest. But I don't think you can ever be quite prepared for the kind of reaction that we've had.
What were some of the conversations that you were having with your fellow cast members during the filming about the kind of show this is and could be?
I think that everyone was sort of telling us that it could be really big.
Yeah.
And that it could really have a big impact on a lot of people. And that's kind of a lot of pressure to have as an actor when you're sort of making a show. So it was nice that kind of none of us we all felt that it was important, and it was important to us, more importantly. But no one really thought in the cast that it would do, anything near what it actually has done. So, we've all sort of approached this as a group, as a team, as a family, the cast, because we're all going through it together, every single step, going to different events and doing interviews and doing wonderful stuff like this. We're all doing it together and we can talk about it. So it's been a good support system.
Just on a personal level, is it your Instagram followers went up really dramatically almost overnight? Just tell us the story of what happened.
Yeah, so before I even stepped onto Heartstopper, I think I was under 10K. And then I think the night before Heartstopper was released, I was at around 200,000 followers. Within a week, I was at 1 million, and then 2 million. And then I just I tried to stop looking a little bit. And yeah, I think I've gone past 3 million now, somewhere around there.
Insane. Jane?
What are you at the moment? Last checked, 652. Park that statistics. I had something to tell you.
Yeah.
You are doing your A-levels, aren't you?
I am.
Anybody else in the room doing their A-levels? Yeah, okay, well...
I'm sorry.
Yeah. We're all a bit sorry for you.
You're all skiving revision right now, which I love.
Yeah, you should all be somewhere else. You do know that, don't you?
Yeah.
Including you, actually, Kit.
I very much should be, yeah. I've got my first one on Thursday.
Which is it?
History, Soviet Russia. So it's not looking good.
It's as grim as it sounds.
Yeah, it's actually, ironically, it's one of my better exams. One of my worst ones is drama, unfortunately. So, yeah.
This is weird because obviously everybody in the room would expect you to do brilliantly well in drama. Can I ask what your predicted grade for drama is?
Well, for my mock, I got a D, it's not bad. Whoa, yeah. I mean, it's not awful, but it's not an A-star and it's not anything like that. It's more because I think, to be fair, I actually answered one of the wrong questions in my mock.
Oh, okay.
Going back to Heartstopper, I was thinking, obviously there is our central story with you and Joe. But when you're not in the scenes that are also garnering so much attention, which of those are your favourite of the sort of subplots? Which have you really enjoyed as a viewer?
I mean, as a viewer, I think I was still in that scene, but there's this amazing, amazing scene, which is my sort of favourite scene, full stop. My favourite moment in the show is with Tara and Darcy. We're at the party. Yeah, exactly. It's just they have their sort of really just this public kiss, and it's just when I was there and filming it, my reaction is completely and utterly genuine. It was just this cinematic, just incredible sort of spectacle to see, you know, with the lighting and just, it was like the sort of seas parted and you just saw, it was incredible. And I still get goosebumps every time I see that scene. One of the most amazing things about the script is that, you know, I think it's actually in the version of the graphic novel that was released with Joe and I on the cover. I think it has some script pages, and there are actually, one of the things that drew me to it was there are these things called Heartstopper moments in the script where they literally have Alice's illustrations just around the words. And I remember that moment, it was just like a rainbow, sort of star rainbow all around that moment in the script. And I was just like, that's going to be incredible. And it was. So, yeah.
And the fact that it's a story that will mean a great deal to many people who watch it. What do you think about that? About the fact that this is a series with a very special place in a lot of people's hearts? No pun intended.
Well done.
Thank you.
I think
Don't encourage her.
it's pretty incredible, really. I'm 18. You know, to be able to do a show like Heartstopper at the age that I did it, you know, I was 17 when I filmed it. Seeing different things like people using scenes to come out to their parents is just like unbelievable. To be playing a role, sort of going into it, we knew that the graphic novels have had a big impact on people's lives. So, you know, going into it, we knew that it had the potential to do that, but then it could also just crash and burn and we could really just ruin it for a lot of people. So just the more people that you can help and help feel seen and sort of comforted, that's the goal.
And I imagine, we know it's popular all over the world. It'll be watched in countries where, frankly, it isn't easy to be your real self, your true self. Yeah. And that must be something that it's quite a responsibility for not just for you, but for the whole cast, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the fact that it's on Netflix and it's worldwide and it's for literally everyone, it's sort of so easy to watch. It's 4 hours and it's so light and warm, just generally happy, you know.
Yeah. This show is a safe space with, as you described, that lovely warm fuzziness about it. Occasionally, what's wrong with that?
There's so much just darkness and like grittiness, which is great sometimes. You know, it's cool to watch things like Euphoria where it's just loads of really, you know, hot people just sort of doing
I think
crazy
it's terrible,
stuff.
Kit, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but it's you know, that's a very common thing in media.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's nice to have things that are just happy.
I think that's it. I think what I loved about this was that we come to a group of friends who you feel actually already do sort of are comfortable with their identity. They know who they are by this point. And it's your character that is the one that's struggling with that. He's only just starting that journey, whereas actually a lot, like Elle, for example, has already been on that journey and we've not seen it, but we've seen her come out the other side. That was like a real pleasure. But is that something that you could relate to at being that sort of age and still not quite sure of where you fit in with friends, with, you know, groups, whoever?
I think that Nick, for me, is like one of the most relatable characters in the show. But I think that for a lot of people, just that concept of feeling a bit like a fish out of water and not quite knowing where you fit, and then having that sort of moment of realization. For him, Charlie is sort of like home, you know? It makes him feel more comfortable than he ever really has felt before.
Congratulations as well on the new series. We are
Yeah, thank you.
so excited.
I was as excited as you are, to be honest. I'm so excited to go back to set, back to Truham and see all my friends again. And
We have no idea what's going to come next. Do you have anything that you sort of hope will happen? I don't mean necessarily plot points, but more just, do you have an idea of where you want Nick's journey to go?
I mean, obviously, like, as you said, I have absolutely no clue. I putting all my trust into Alice. But in terms of, I suppose, what I'd like to see for Nick, I think just the strengthening of Nick and Charlie's relationship. You know, in season 1, you very much see the sort of the young love and the sort of beginnings of their relationship. And I think that it would be lovely, you know, not just to act, but also just to see as well their relationship just sort of get stronger and blossom. That'd be really nice.
Do you have? I hear a lot of talk these days about intimacy coaches on set. Did you have help with those scenes?
We did. We had a wonderful intimacy coordinator called David Thackeray, who has done stuff like It's a Sin and Sex Education. You know, really intense intimacy scenes. So, you know, for us, it was a piece of cake for him. You know, it was really just a bit of smooching, really. So that was nice. But I think that it's like, things like that can be really odd. Being in a room with maybe 20 people and then just sort of staring into someone's eyes and start just snogging is a really odd thing.
Was there a temptation to laugh? I mean,
Loads. I always tell the story of Joe having like coffee breath.
Coffee breath, I've heard this, yeah.
Because it's true, like I'm not making it up.
We didn't think you were.
And he hates me for it, but it's true. But I think that one of the things about having David there,
and he's always there.
He's anything from holding hands to hugging to kissing, anything, like he's always there. And it just gives you that layer of comfort and that layer of support, but also, first things first, you feel safer, but also he helps you kind of create a more interesting scene and a more interesting sort of bit of intimacy, because I don't know from everyone else's perspective, but like sometimes first kisses don't look that nice, and sometimes your last kiss doesn't look that nice. Sometimes just kissing just doesn't look that filmic almost.
Yes.
So especially that kiss in episode 8 when they're in the corridor. Sorry to spoil anything, but
I think they've seen it.
Fine.
I think from this conversation we get it. They kiss, yeah. So that last kiss in the corridor was just like, we almost wanted it to be a sort of like old Hollywood kiss, you know, like really. There's a bit of slow motion in there. Like we just wanted it to be like a really classic, just romance moment. And we couldn't have done that without David, just because it's nice having those eyes, you know, that sort of third person, just someone staring at you, snogging is always good.
Is it hard for someone of your age, 18, to fully appreciate that this would have been utterly impossible? I'm going to say 10 years ago, actually. I maybe a couple of people in the audience nodding along with that. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, I mean, forget it.
Yeah.
Certainly when I was growing up, there was nothing of this nature.
It's something that you just can't really take for granted, to be honest.
No.
The fact that we're able to make a show like Heartstopper is such a honour and such a privilege to be able to just live in a time when we can do that. This is, you know, what I always preach about Heartstopper is that it is just showing queer people being happy, and there is never enough of that.
Yeah.
And in terms of how your family are treating your success, which is, let's face it, enormous and relatively sudden. I know you've done big roles before. I'd like in particular you to tell me the story you told me earlier.
Yeah.
This is a very professional way of getting a good anecdote out of him.
You're just like Graham Norton.
I know, I'm just like
classically
Graham.
done, classic.
If only I had his salary. About what your brother has in his student bedroom.
Yeah, so my brother's at uni, and I always used to basically take the mick out of him because he doesn't have the biggest room, and I used to buy him sort of big things to put in his room. So I got him mostly cardboard cutouts of different people. But like things like Danny DeVito, I got him one.
I mean, you could have gone bigger, I've got to be honest.
But it does take quite a lot of room out, actually. So then he's basically sent me a message that he'd bought a cardboard cutout of me. So now I'm basically just always there, and it's a picture of me in a tux. So I'm just sort of there, giving him a bit of a kind of
Blue steel.
Yeah, a little bit, sort of just staring at him while he sleeps, which is nice. I think any brother should have that. But yeah, he bought that. It was a very nice surprise.
Heartstopper is obviously so many people's comfort watch now. Like, you know, people are watching on repeat, wherever, and they take it with them on their phones, etc. What's your comfort watch? What have you been watching that you can just completely switch off and engage with?
I've got a few, to be honest.
Yeah.
In terms of a film, it's really, I don't know why, but like Notting Hill has always been like my, I just put it on.
Can you say Whoops-a-Daisy? Just the...
Whoops-a-daisies.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
it's the Hugh Grant audition right there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no, honestly, I have such a fat crush on Hugh Grant. Like, it was just like, I remember just talking to Joe. There's actually the picture where we were announced. Basically, they just tell you, like, especially when you're doing a photo shoot, they just say, like, talk to each other. And then you're just like, well, I don't know what to talk about. So then I'm just thinking, in my mind, I just think Hugh Grant, immediately. So I start talking about Notting Hill, and then he says, At this point, I've known Joe for like a month maybe, and he says that he hasn't seen Notting Hill. So I was about to, I was going in, like really. Luckily, he's seen it now. But
Was it with you?
no, I didn't watch it with him. I
'Cause
didn't
you
want
would have been too
I would have
stressed.
been too, yeah. Because if he didn't like it, I would have been really annoyed at him. But yeah, I don't know why. It's just a really nice comfort film. Just love it. And then for a show, actually, I think, to be honest, every single interview that I've ever had, I've spoken about normal people. And I just think that it's just, I mean, I don't know why, because it just makes me cry every time. But there's just something about that show.
Presumably, after the exams are over, when does filming start again for Heartstopper?
I don't know. I don't have any sort of official dates. Hopefully in the next couple of months. Hopefully
And can we rule out university for you then?
we can. Unless sort of the next 2 seasons come out and we just ruin it for everyone, and my career's over, then maybe I'll go back to uni.
I sort of feel that a lot of the stuff that you get from the social side of uni, you've had on set. You've kind of created your family. You found your people.
Exactly,
there.
and even on the weekends, we had a bit of time to sort of get to know each other and go out and have fun.
But you won't be able to do that anymore, will you?
No, well, yeah, we will.
Will you?
We'll find a way.
Why
Find
not?
a way. I'm sure.
Well, I just think they might get a bit of attention.
Oh, the mobbing, I see. Yeah.
Not that they're too old for it or anything like that, but just there might be.
We'll see. We'll hope so. I mean, it's always not. That's the thing. It's always nice. Like, it can be slightly overwhelming when you have like a load of people sort of coming up to you. But I think for the most part, it's lovely.
We were talking earlier about Tom Cruise. Now he's literally over 60. Do you anticipate staying in this business for that long? And could you do like action type roles? Would you love to do those sorts of things?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to do action roles. We'll see. I mean, I'm open to everything, and I'm very much keen to stay in the industry for as long as I can. But I just want to stay in it for as long as it sort of stays fun. If I can make it to Tom Cruise level, then wouldn't be bad, would it?
It would be all right.
Yeah.
Kit, you've been such an interesting guest. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I know everybody here just wants to say thank you just for coming and also for the show, which has made so many people so happy. So thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Kit.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you. He was great, wasn't he?